Welcome to Loco Taco. Today we're wearing double diamond hats made right here in Sun Valley, Idaho, in the county of Blaine. My guest is Double Diamond Hat himself, Ajay Nikula.
Nicola, but you know, whatever.
I know, but it sounds so much cooler to say Nikula.
It is cool.
It's cooler. Wait a minute, you must have a guy or two at Montana Silversmiths that you went to high school with or something.
I grew up 45 miles from Columbus and used to drive by it all the time. Like, for say, if I was driving from Red Lodge area where I'm at to Bozeman, I drove through Columbus and drove right past the Montana Silversmith building, which is now it's like a timber place that makes beams and trusses and stuff. But yeah,
it's not like the chainsaw bears out of stumps that they
no,
sit out
it
front.
was all construction integrity and stuff.
You had an exposure to craftsmanship, and at the same time, the kind of the American West. Going down that road was something that you were encouraged by it versus deterred.
Yeah, I mean, I always grew up with like having leather work was always a big thing. Like when I was in 4-H as a kid, we took leather work. My sister was actually in sewing. Real fact here is that I wanted a hat to wear on stage while I played, and I didn't know what to call it, so I was like doing the research on what it is. So I'm like, well, these are all things that I could do. Like, I understand this. And so I went to my girlfriend and was like, I'm gonna buy a steamer and some hat blocks and some hat bodies, and I'm gonna make hats. And she goes, okay.
Yeah, right.
Third hat into it, she goes, you're really good at this. And it's more fun to leave people an opportunity to be creative when they don't think they are. And I get that moment where they're like, the light bulb kind of goes off and they're like, wow, I made this.
I've experienced it. Ashley's experienced. It's like, you know, yeah, you don't think you're the person with the vision and the idea, but you do a great job of making us, the consumer and the user, to feel like this whole thing was my idea.
I mean, honestly, I couldn't do it without you guys. You know, I couldn't do it. I could make a hat and put it on the shelf and it sits there forever, but at the end of the day, I'd rather you wear it. Why wouldn't you? It's like getting a tattoo, you know? You get a tattoo, you wear it forever and you're stuck with it, but people are going to ask questions about it.
Sell me on Double Diamond, but don't sell me because I'm not interested. I'm not buying.
It really comes from is I want to use your imagination as my limitation. If you can think about it, I want to be able to try to find a way to create it. I bought a laser engraver because everybody else was kind of doing stuff along the lines of like, let's burn brands in. And
what did you laser engrave on the brim of a hat you did recently?
So my very first hat, which I called the OG, I decided it was time to like kind of amp it up a little bit. It was a cool hat. Everybody really liked it, but after I wore it for like a year and a half, another fun part about being a hat maker is I get to change my own hats. I decided to laser engrave one of my favorite songs in the world, Wicked Twisted Road from Reckless Kelly, and I put the first verse circled underneath the brim.
Because you could just be content with just making hats, because you know what? Since there's nobody doing it, that's probably good enough. But oh, wait a minute. Yeah. I think what the biggest thing is, and I think this comes from a place of an intrinsic spot in you, is that you don't develop the relationship with the hat wearer, that hat doesn't get worn.
Oh, it doesn't. And then all that work goes to waste. My hat.
It's like building a house that only gets used 2 weeks a year.
And that's it. It's like I want to build a hat that's not built for years to be only worn 2 weeks out of the year. Like I want you to, I mean, I wear flip-flops and a cowboy hat. What else do you need me to say? You know?
Well, I'm grateful for our friendship, and it's can't think of anything more appropriate than being a chill on Loco Taco with Double D himself.
Thank you guys. Couldn't do it without you.
And what's the line they use for the men's hair growth? It's like, I'm not only a spokesman, I'm also a client.
I'm also a client.
Something like that,
Something
right?
like that, yeah. I think it really means everything to what Idaho actually stands for. And as a Montana guy, I can really relate to the Idaho world of we're still small town. We look out for each other. We wave to our neighbors. We wave to people we don't know. You know, as much as everything's changing in the world and stuff, like I feel that Sun Valley's actually kept a pretty good grip on what we stand for. And we're welcoming to the new people. You know, everybody's coming here for some reason of their own, and like when we're sitting here on the end of it, like why can't we give them an opportunity to build themselves an Idaho? Like I think I can create relationships with people that I would have never met before selling electrical.
You mean like Shane Smith and the Saints?
Never heard of her. Look them up. You ever heard? Great guys. The whole band was great. They were so welcoming. They're the friendliest people in the world.
Fluffing me up with that. Okay.
Not a fluff.
So